I'm Abby.
I'm Aly.
We're the Ranic twins, and this is Oops, I Arted, a part of the Hayden Collins Intelligence Syndicate.
All right, Abby. I've been doing some thinking, and the holidays coming up. Easter is just all over the place.
Yes, pastel everywhere.
Pastel bunnies, eggs, baskets. But have you ever stopped and thought about Easter as a holiday?
How do we celebrate the second coming of Jesus Christ?
Rising from the tomb as a bunny that lays eggs. Let's delve into it. Okay. So Easter is what is called a movable feast. So it's supposed to fall between March 25th and April 25th, but it should fall on the Sunday following the first full moon after the spring equinox.
Yeah, I was always wondering why Easter was like that, because sometimes, it falls on our grandfather's birthday.
Yeah.
It's April 21st.
This year?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on the 21st, so it's the Saturday after next.
Okay, so let's just start by talking about the Christian form of the holiday. So Easter is celebrated because Jesus died on Good Friday, and he was resurrected, on Easter Sunday. There's actually a really cool story after that, because Jesus walked the earth for 40 days.
Yeah, and then he ascended into heaven, right?
He just floated away.
Yeah, I loved the Easter sermon that we did at West Room.
It's definitely worth looking into, even if you're not super religious. But much like many other Christian holidays, Easter is, can you guess where it came from?
Pagan.
It's pagan.
Who'd have guessed it? I was wondering that because pagans celebrate the spring equinox as a holiday.
Yeah, so I don't want to say that Christians stole a lot of their dates and times for holidays from the pagans.
I wouldn't say stole. They just accepted that holiday. Think of it from a time where a majority of people were not Christian. They were like, well, if we just absorb this holiday into our
religion, all celebrate together.
Exactly. And that's how, just like with Valentine's Day, that's how they got people to convert to Christianity.
Okay, so the pagan side it's Eostre and Ostara, but it's spelled Eostre.
Eostre?
Yeah.
Is Eostre and Ostara, are they different? Ostern? Is that what I'm reading?
There's a lot. Hold on.
Okay.
So Eostre was a goddess of spring or renewal, and that's why her feast is attached to the vernal equinox. So Eostre sounds a lot like Easter. And then there's a German version, and there's a German festival called Ostern, and the goddess is called Ostara.
Ostern.
And the rabbits are linked to fertility. So a lot of, the lore that I got was German lore.
Yeah, see, that's the part that stuck out to me, was that it came to America through German immigration to the country, right?
But the big question still remains. Why do rabbits lay eggs? So, I found out a definitive answer.
Okay.
It said that Ostara, this is the German one, so Ostara found a wounded bird in the forest and healed it by turning it into a rabbit. And the rabbit was still partially a bird, so it laid eggs as a thank you to the goddess for helping her.
Why couldn't she just heal the bird?
She healed the bird by turning it into a rabbit. Don't ask how, why, I don't know.
I'm confused, but I get it, I think. I'm following.
Thank you! Here are some eggs.
See, it's interesting that you said that, because I read that in some Christian sects, they celebrate the 40 days as kind of a fast away from something that you're doing. So some people will stop smoking cigarettes, some people will stop drinking Coca-Cola.
Being on Facebook.
Exactly. So they kind of give up something to be closer to God. And one of the things back in the day was that they couldn't eat eggs for that 40 days.
Well, yeah, and you also weren't supposed to eat eggs, a week prior to Easter. There's a lot of things revolving around when you should and should not eat eggs. And now on Easter, we're like, egg salad, deviled eggs, scrambled.
Well, and that's why...
Dye the eggs. Hide the eggs.
I read that's why they decorated the eggs, is because they couldn't eat them, right?
Yeah, so I have some more cool facts. Still on the festivals in the pagan history and the German history is the eggs obviously were a symbol of fertility.
Just like the bunny, right?
Yes, and so this goes back to Egyptians and Persians
who
had the custom of coloring and eating eggs during their spring festival.
Wow, I didn't know it was that old.
It goes all the way back.
That's awesome.
And in ancient Egypt, an egg symbolized the sun, and for the Babylonians, the egg represented the hatching of the Venus Ishtar, who fell from the heaven to the Euphrates.
And that's really cool too, because they depended on the river, at least Egyptians did, to flood, right?
Yeah, so it has a lot of attachments to the upcoming season and the renewal of
farming,
life. Yes.
Huh? Just like Valentine's Day celebration, huh?
Yes. And obviously rabbits symbolize new life because they multiply in droves.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I read that they were avid procreators.
Very positive way to put that. So yeah, the eggs and rabbits were associated with spring, and this was absorbed into the Christian culture. The resurrection of Jesus represented new life. Yeah. So I think that's where the connection was made. We have this awesome guy who was resurrected, so he is clean of sins.
Yeah, he was reborn.
Yes.
Christ is reborn.
So these eggs and these bunnies are going to symbolize our guy, our main man, Jesus.
Okay, well, at least it fits together pretty well.
Yes. So this is at the first association of the rabbit with Easter, and this is according to a guy named Professor Cusack. And I'm not sure if this is from the ABC.net article or the Britannica article.
No relation to John or John.
The lesser known. I'm kidding, I have no idea. He said there was a mention of the Easter hare in a book by a German professor of medicine. It was published in 1722 by George Frank von Frankenau.
Frankenau.
I think that was a pretty good pronunciation.
Yeah, you just sound so aggressive. Try to speak in a German accent.
German is an aggressive language. I'm kidding. Please don't email us. Professor Cusack says that he recalls the folklore that hares would hide the eggs that children would hunt for, and that we've been doing this since the 18th century. And decorated eggs were hidden in gardens for egg hunts.
I used to love looking for Easter eggs, and now I love hiding Easter eggs for the kids because it is just hilarious.
It's thrilling.
Yes.
It's exhilarating. I don't know about anybody else, but you and I were so competitive.
Oh, yes. Had to get the most eggs.
Dad used to do those elaborate scavenger hunts.
Yes, I loved that. Yeah, and it's funny, when I was researching this, it's not always a bunny. In other cultures, I can't remember if it was a mockingbird. It was some type of bird that would come around to the children's windows where they left the nests and put eggs in it. And then another one was a fox that would steal the eggs and pass them around.
Sneaky fox.
Yes.
Yes. Since you brought up the nests, I don't know if anyone has ever wondered why we put paper...
wasteful plastic straw
in the baskets, but it's because the baskets are supposed to emulate a nest.
Yeah, the wicker.
Yes. So you put the little straw in there and it makes a little nest so the bunny can, all that mess.
Very aesthetic.
Anyways, Easter became commercialized around the 19th century, so around the 1800s. I think it's a good reason to celebrate.
Well, and they figured out they could make a little money off of it, right?
Yes, and the first edible Easter bunnies, they were made from sugared pastry, and they were made in Germany in the 19th century. Chocolate back then was way different than chocolate is now. Chocolate back then was bitter.
Yes.
And dark. But,
how I like it.
Easter kind of sweetened that whole deal. I don't want to say it was Easter directly, but the increase in chocolate sales during Easter definitely influenced.
I wonder what is up with sweet treats. It's nice to celebrate a holiday, and they are feasting, so I guess if you'd like to indulge in something, a treat like that.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, because in Germany they do butter lambs.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I remember
and
that, and I also did
chocolate bunny's kind of an homage to the butter lamb.
I did a project on Poland in 6th grade, and they also do, if anybody's family does the butter lamb, or if you've seen a lamb cut out butter thing, please email us about it, because
it's like
that's
that Ted Cruz picture of the butter cow. And then, of course, Hallmark jumped on the bandwagon, much like they did with Valentine's Day, and they started publishing cards with rabbits and eggs on them. Back then, it was more about staying in touch. Give me a reason to write letters to my family. So this is...
Well, there was no texting, calling,
yeah, so it's like, Happy Easter, I hope you enjoyed your buttered lamb. Did the kids find all the eggs? Like, stuff like that. If not, I'm sure they'll smell them in a couple weeks and find them.
Who won the egg rolling competition?
These cards are kind of not super popular over time. You don't see people handing out Easter cards to each other. Maybe at church.
Now I can just send you an e-card.
Yeah.
With like a glitter rabbit on it that says Happy Easter. I want to know where the jelly beans came in. Is it because they're egg-shaped?
I also don't understand why we get gifts. It's a lot like Christmas, where it's like, this is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. This is quoted as the most important day of the Christian calendar.
Yeah, not even the birth of Jesus.
And people just buy a bunch of rabbits and chickens, baby chicklings, and a bunch of candy, and then they're like,
Happy Easter!
Yep, this is it.
And I know a lot of people do attend church on Easter Sunday. And...
Out of all the days, though, like, you're gonna go one day a year?
Yeah. You gotta show up. And, you know, also, just kind of an interesting point, I was looking up where the Easter Day Parade came from, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but... Are you familiar with Easter?
No.
So there's a parade every year. I can't remember where it is, though, on Easter, and it actually originated in... I can't remember when or where, and, you know, I don't really have the source either, but it's because everybody was leaving church at the same time in their Easter outfits.
Oh yeah,
it was New York City.
So New York City, the Easter Parade and Easter Bonnet Festival. It's funny because I listened to another podcast called Small Town Murder.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, Small Town Murder. And they were talking about how one of the towns, like, is most well known for their Easter bonnet. And it's, like, free entry. Anyone can enter. Anyone can show up in a bonnet. And I was like, that's a little weird. Like, people just make or buy
well, it was
bonnets.
In the time period, in the era, it was popular to wear something, to have your hair covered, especially as a woman. And everybody was, you know, looking fly in their Easter gear, right? And people began to watch this mass exodus from
people
church.
leaving church.
Yes, and all of their colorful hats and outfits and everything. And I think that's super cool, honestly.
Yeah.
That
it turned into something.
Yeah, everybody was leaving church and then it turned into a parade. So,
yeah, that's really awesome.
A little fun fact. If anybody knows why the heck we roll eggs on the White House lawn, please email us at oopsiartedpod@gmail.com because I couldn't find a lot of information as to why or where that originated.
I have some questions about that as well, but I guess we'll talk about that off air because that's all the information I have.
Yep.
You can find us at Oops, I Arted on YouTube and listen to all of our other episodes on there. And you can email us at oopsiartedpod@gmail.com. This has been another episode of Oops, I Arted. Stay tuned for next week.
Happy Easter!